Welcome to John Martin Talks, where we battle ignorance and apathy daily. The growing ignorance of just how special this experiment we call the United States of America is, and the apathy that we can't or won't do anything and everything to save her. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got a great show for you today. I hope you had a great weekend. I know I did. I spent yesterday, I guess Christmas for me now is officially over. I spent all day yesterday taking down all of our Christmas decorations and packing them away for the year. Of course, I've had them turned off for basically about a week and a half, but we do it right out in Hawthorne, Florida, and we decorate big time. And I finally took them all down. So it's kind of sad, but Christmas is really over. All right, we got a great show. We're going to talk about Joe Biden, of all people. I can't imagine why we would talk about him, but we're going to talk about him. His team tells the Caravan, if you're not aware of this, there's a brand new Caravan coming up from like Honduras and Guatemala through Mexico. One estimate was 6,500. The one I looked at looked more like 10,000, but who knows. But the Biden team has basically sent out a message to him saying, you guys need to wait a little while, wait till we get in control here, we get in power before you bum rush the border, because not only is Trump still your president, but it'll take us a while, basically, to get rid of all the good things that he did down on the border. And then Karl Rove, we got to hear from Karl Rove. He's come out now and essentially said that if Trump talks about what I call mod, so I can't say there's a couple of F words you can't say, and one of them rhymes with mod now. So there's no voter mod, but if Donald Trump speaks about the mod that happened during the election, then that could lead to his ultimate conviction in the Senate. That's what Karl Rove said. So we'll get into that. But before we go any further, got to do a few housekeeping things here. One is to talk about our sponsor, Big Daddy Unlimited, otherwise known as BDU. They have a great sales pitch here. And that is what I call your Second Amendment headquarters, because you can get guns and ammunitions delivered directly to your door at factory direct pricing, including tactical gear, yes, protective gear. There's some controversy about those kind of things. And you can get t-shirts and swag and other thing from Big Daddy Unlimited, 20%. And we got another sponsor, 20% off at patriotthreads.org, apparel with a purpose. You remember the promo code JMT and you get 20% off. We also have Recoil TV. We're now part of the Recoil family, so to speak. We have a channel on Recoil, and I'll tell you how to get on that. We have a YouTube channel, by the way. It's John Martin Talks. Spell it all the way out. Might be the best way to watch it while you still can. Who knows what YouTube may do? But you can put stuff out on Facebook, but I can't respond to it right now. You can imagine why. Free John Martin, they need to have that in there. Anyway, if you want to make a comment like thousands of you sometimes do, I need you to actually go to someplace like YouTube and put your comments there, and I will respond to them. I can read your comments, so keep them coming, but I can't respond to them on Facebook just yet. I got to read this statement that we came up with because, as you probably know, and if you don't, you must have been living under a rock, but any conservative talk right now is being hammered. We're being squashed, put back, put in jail, various things, deplatformed, all that kind of stuff. So I want to make this statement of how you can continue to watch our show no matter what, because we're determined. Because some people have said, oh, you need to quit Facebook, you need to quit Twitter. We're not going to quit any of these because we're determined to be in the public square. Now, they may quit us. That's a different story. But we're going to try to get the show out far and wide as possible, because I believe conservative voices like mine are more important than ever right now, and I hope you agree with that. Due to the move by big tech to deplatform conservative free speech, we will be moving John Martin Talks to a new secure platform that we can continue to broadcast on. Please download, while you still can, the Recoil TV app found in the link below. Right now, it's available on the Apple Store and Google Play Store. In addition, you can go directly to johnmartintalks.tv. That's johnmartintalks.tv to see all of our episodes and continue watching my show. Some of these platforms you can stream live to, and some of them can't. Just a reminder about YouTube. A lot of people don't know this. We stream live to it. They have a feature where you can go back and even catch up with the show while we're streaming live. But once the live stream is over, they put the video back up about 6 to 8 hours later. So if you're looking for it after the live stream on YouTube, it takes a little while. But we're determined to be your voice of freedom here at JMT. So remember, www.johnmartintalks.tv, because some of these platforms, we can only put the video up after the fact. They don't have live streaming just yet. So we're working on all of that. But I also want to wish you, before we get into the meat of the show here, happy MLK Day. Today is Martin Luther King celebration, his birthday day. And, I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I've been wondering about MLK and the dream and all. Is the dream dead? Is the dream dead? And I think we got a meme to put up there. Yeah, talking about, judging you by the content of your character versus the color of your skin. If the dream is not dead, it is certainly on life support, because it seems like the progressive left, the Democratic Party has made, and the mainstream media has made everything about race these days. Everything. Is there anything that doesn't have to do with color? Even the pandemic virus, the vaccinations, and any help you might be getting from stimulus and all is driven by color. It's crazy, man. It just, I don't know. I can't imagine that Dr. King would really appreciate what's happening to the idea of judging you by the content of your character versus the color of your skin. All right, let's get into the meat of the show. We got a couple stories actually from Breitbart here. We're going to use them today. They've been right on top of things here lately, pretty much all the time. Report, Biden team to migrant caravan. Don't come, you won't get in /yet. You won't get in yet. So I don't know if you've seen this. This is an actual picture, I think we have it, of this caravan that is heading this way. We're going to show you a video pretty soon here that actually shows this migrant caravan crashing through the border down south. NBC News reports that a senior Biden transition team member warned the newest caravan of Honduran migrants not to come to the U.S. There's an actual picture of the migrants coming this way. Illegal immigrants, what they're doing. Migrants to come to the U.S. at this time. The official reportedly advised, and this is according to NBC, so it's got to be true, right? The official reportedly advised that if they come, they will not be allowed to enter the U.S. /for now. Well, there's a couple of reasons for that. One is that right now, like it or not, snowflakes, Donald Trump is still your president, at least for a few more days. God help us. It looks like Joe Biden is going to be inaugurated, I believe, Wednesday of this week. But for right now, Donald Trump is still your president. And on top of that, the Biden administration admits that although starting day one, they're going to try to dismantle everything that Donald Trump did, including no more border wall, they can't do it overnight. And so, and some of the agreements we have with Mexico are still that Donald Trump initiated are still in place. So it's going to take them time to dismantle the Trump legacy. But why the rush now? Why the rush to crash the border right now? Well, obviously, it's because they believe in promises made, promises kept, right? Now, they stayed away because of promises made, promises kept. Interesting how you have the different sides of a same coin. Donald Trump kept his promises and did his best to secure the border in multiple ways. And I think he would have done even more in a second term. Maybe he'll get one. We don't know if it's now or 4 years from now. We'll see. But he kept his promises, and it kept the bum rushing of our border at bay. Now, before I go any further, if you're on the right, you have to caveat things. On the left, there is no double standard. The left can say anything they want. But on the right, we have to protect ourselves. Let me just say this. I don't blame these migrants for coming here. I don't blame them for trying to get here. If I were poor and living in Honduras and Guatemala, I'd probably be trying to get here myself. So I don't blame them. But we cannot have a country with an open border and a welfare policy. And I'll show you where Biden is going to do just that. But why now? Well, like I said, it's about promises made, promises kept. Joe Biden made promises during the campaign that he would open our border and offer free health care. If you don't believe me, check this out. This first video is Joe Biden during the 2020 campaign raising his hand saying that he would decriminalize, make it legal basically to illegally come to America. Check it out.
On the topic of decriminalization of the border, if you'd be so kind, raise your hand if you think it should be a civil offense rather than a crime to cross the border without documentation. Can we keep the hands up so we could see them?
Yeah. Well, I got a question for you. So does that mean we have to sue these illegal immigrants? We can't arrest them. We can't detain them. We can't deport them. We got to sue them, I guess, because what do you do with a civil offense? You sue them, right? So right there you saw the entire field of 2020 Democratic candidates, including President-elect Joe Biden, and that's what he is. Love it, hate it. I don't like saying it, but it's the truth, and we're going to speak the truth here at John Martin Talks, even if it's painful sometimes. But they all said they were for making it basically legal to illegally cross our border. And then if you're wondering what people are after, obviously they're wanting jobs and that type of thing. And as I said, if I were down there, I'd probably be trying to come here. But Joe Biden, promises made, most likely promises kept. They basically promised you that if you get here illegally, we're going to reward you for it. Check this out.
Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
Woohoo! Yay! I love how they cheer for that. Woohoo! We're going to provide free stuff to people undocumented. One thing about it, I'm just going to speak the truth. Yeah, they're what they are is illegal immigrants. So we're going to make it legal to illegally cross our border under Joe Biden. And we're going to give you free stuff that we don't even give to American citizens. Free medical care across the board. No wonder they're bum rushing the border, because they believe in Joe Biden. The unnamed transition official told NBC News, I like how they unnamed, another word for anonymous, unnamed. So it's interesting. Go back. They were always anonymous when they were telling lies about Donald Trump. They were always, nobody wanted to go on the record and tell the truth. They would always be anonymous lies. But if you tell the truth about Biden, you have to be anonymous. So it's just interesting how things are changing so fast. This is what these unnamed transition team members said. The situation at the border isn't going to be transformed overnight. There's help on the way. Now, help on the way doesn't mean National Guard coming down there to defend the border. They mean there's help on the way of opening the border. But now is not the time to make the journey. So the translation of that is real simple. It's going to take us some time. First, we got to get Joe Biden, God help us, to be the actual president. Then it's going to take us some time to undo all of the good works, all the good promises made, promises kept that Mr. Trump did when he was in there. Just to give you an example of just what Joe Biden has come out with and said, oh, I'm going to do this in the first 100 days. Well, one of the things they've announced is they're going to immediately on day one rescind the Keystone Pipeline agreement. So that turns around and means that we're losing our energy independence, because Donald Trump accomplished something that hadn't been done in decades, and that is that we were a net exporter of energy. In other words, we were energy independent and making money off the rest of the world. Joe Biden's going to kill all that, leading with the Keystone Pipeline. He's already in negotiations, apparently, with the Iranians who just shot missiles towards our boat. But Joe Biden don't let that stop him. He's in negotiations with the Iranians right now. Of course, we know through John Kerry that they've always been undermining Trump all during his presidency with the Iranians. But we're about to rejoin the Iranian deal, which means they're definitely going to get a nuclear weapon. And who they going to turn it to? Death to America, and run the Israelis into the sea. Or obliterate them, I guess. You don't have to run them into the sea. Maybe just turn everybody into jello with a nuclear bomb and they just float out to sea, I guess. And we're getting back in the Paris Accords, which we're already doing better than what under Trump administration than what the Paris Accords were even asking us for. We were, a lot of people, the media never reports this, but we were leading the world in reduction of carbon emissions under the Trump administration. But you would think that we're burning the world down under that. But we're going to get into the Paris Accords. I guess the only good news coming out of potential first 100 days or day one of the Biden administration, God help us, is we're going to, revamp Detroit, because they're going to have cars like this one right here is what we're going to need with Biden. There you go. You want to know what the car of the future is? Get your feet ready, man. I don't know. You better get them moving. We'll be a healthier nation. I don't know how far we're going to get. I hadn't said this in a while, but if I say it bears repeating, we are about to find out what the jackasses riding jackasses party is, because the Democrats are going to put us back in the Stone Age, or on the back of their symbol, a jackass, which is one of the greatest, symbols you could have to really emboldens or embodies the concept of the Democratic Party now. Currently, there are multiple programs put in place by the Trump administration to prevent the caravan migrants that are now forcing their way into Guatemala from Honduras from entering the U.S. if they make it this far. So Trump administration has agreements with like Honduras, Guatemala, I think even Nicaragua, but certainly to keep their people there. And then they have agreements with Mexico to make sure that people stay on that side of the border and seek asylum from Mexico before they come into the United States. This is something I rarely ever hear even talked about, even on conservative networks. And by the way, if I hadn't mentioned, another place to go see our show is America's Voice News. We were on their Facebook, but we're not at the moment because they're not allowing anybody to live stream on their Facebook channel right now. We were getting tens of thousands of views on there and greatly appreciate that. So if you find us somewhere else and wonder why we're not on America's Voice News Facebook, we're not being punished by them. It's just that they don't want any people to get in trouble streaming live on the Facebook and getting it taken down. So they're kind of being cautious. I suspect, although I don't know this for sure, but after the inauguration, things might change. But we are being broadcast on America's Voice News. So if you're watching us on their live streaming channel, howdy, how are you? You can download while you can, I say, because you never know, because conservatives, you can download free app on your Android, your iPhone for America's Voice News, also known as America's Real Voice. And they're on Roku, Fire Stick, Apple TV, Channel 219, Dish Network, and the Pluto channel, and growing. And I think we're currently being rebroadcast along their network at 1 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time. So check it out. But the caravan of, the migrants are now forcing their way into Guatemala from, I got sidetracked. Billy Bob here tells me to get back on it, and I will right now. He's my psychic sidekick. He's got a Twitter handle. It's at Billy Bob Bass 1, and mine is at John Martin Talks. Yes, I'm a fish whisperer, the old salty dog. Got a lot of nicknames. But as far as international law, that's what I wanted to get to. A lot of people don't seem to know this, but it's international law that if you're crossing from one country seeking asylum in another country, you have to seek asylum according to international law in the first country you cross over to. In other words, if you come from Guatemala or Honduras and you come into Mexico, of course, I think you got to leapfrog through one of those other countries before you get here. You're supposed to request asylum in that country. You're not supposed to cross 2 or 3 countries, come up to the United States and request asylum. So Mexico has agreed, at least for now, who knows what will happen under, God help us, a Joe Biden presidency, but they're keeping asylum seekers on the Mexico side of the border. Now, I've been asking for a long time, where's the UN in all this? I mean, we pay our dues. Now, you know, I'm with you on the UN is what they in the country say about useless as tits on a boar hog. So I get you. I'm with you on that. But since we are paying our dues and we have the UN, why aren't they on the southern border of Mexico itself dealing with these illegal immigrants coming here in the refugee crisis? Why? Because they want them to come right straight to the United States of America. So a lot of people don't understand that. But you know, I told you this, ladies and gentlemen. I made some promises to you. One of the things I've told you is that there are certain people I trust and some I don't. I still trust Donald Trump. I absolutely trust Donald Trump for a lot of reasons. Many you could probably speculate yourself. But I trust there's several other people in Washington I trust. One of them is Chuck Schumer. I trust Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi completely. Now you say, what the heck do you mean? I trust that they're going to do exactly all the vile things to this country that they said they were going to do. And you remember what Chuck Schumer said just about a month ago that he was going to do if a certain thing happened and the devil came down to Georgia. Let's listen to Chuck Schumer in his own words.
Now we take Georgia, and then we change the world. Yeah!
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, Mr. Schumer?
Now we take Georgia, and then we change America.
And they took Georgia, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Change America. They're going to fundamentally change America, and one of the first steps is to do away with anything good, bad, or whatever that Donald Trump did, and, bum rushing the border is one of those things. They also include the administration's remain in Mexico protocols. These are what they want to do away with. They're going to do away with that Trump did. And the Title 42 coronavirus protection protocols put in place by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. These programs led to the expulsion of approximately 90% of the migrants illegally crossing the U.S.-Mexico border, according to Customs and Border Patrol officials previously told Breitbart, Texas. So let's look at this again. So protocols put Title 42 coronavirus. What has Biden been all about? His whole campaign has been that Donald Trump is killing us and I'm going to save the day, right, with the coronavirus. But now they're going to do away with the Centers for Disease Control protocols. Centers for Disease Control, aren't they like to the right hand of God, according to Biden? And now the protocols that they put into place to keep Americans from getting infected by people who come here illegally, the Biden administration is going to lift those. And think about this, ladies and gentlemen. While they're going to allow the bum rushing of the border, here's the thing. They want to make it legal to illegally cross our border. I just showed you that. They want to give free medical care to people coming here illegally. I just showed you that. And now they're wanting to undo not only everything that Donald Trump did, but the protocols set forward by the Centers for Disease Control. At the same time, Biden has promised to absolutely, let's just play it. I'll let Biden speak for Biden. Check it out.
Morning come January, and we have coronavirus and the flu combining, which many scientists have said is a real possibility. Would you be prepared to shut this country down again?
I would be prepared to do whatever it takes to save lives, because we cannot get the country moving until we control the virus. That is the fundamental flaw of this administration's thinking to begin with. In order to keep the country running and moving and the economy growing and people employed, you have to fix the virus. You have to deal with the virus.
So if the scientists say, shut it down?
I would shut it down. I would listen to the scientists.
I would shut it down. But are you listening to the scientists of the CDC that put a protocol that try to prevent people from coming here illegally that may in fact have the virus? I don't know if you've seen this story, but in Florida right now, we're dealing with vaccination vacation people. There are people literally coming from South America and other places now that have the money to get here to spend the time to get the free vaccines in Florida. And I saw an interview with a gentleman, and he flat said, I don't necessarily blame these people. He said in Mexico right now, it is total chaos when it comes to the virus. And he said it's getting worse and worse there. So he came to Florida to get the shot. So if it's going to hell in a handbasket in Mexico and South America, and we're going to hear from the president of one of those countries here in just a minute, if it's going that bad, then what? And Joe Biden is going to shut us down, going to shut Americans down, allow the board. Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. Biden has promised basically to shut us down in the United States. At the same time, they're going to let tens of thousands of people come here illegally who may or may not be carrying the virus, and they're going to lift the protocols from the scientists. He talked about listening to the scientists at the CDC that's basically saying we don't need more infected people coming to this country. You just can't make this stuff up. It is a nightmare scenario, but it is one we are about to be living through. Late last week, President-elect Joe Biden, these are their words, not mine, and the Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, well, I wonder what shoes she's wearing today. Everybody's worried about her shoes. And she's got to have to wear some real high heels to walk through all the BS they're spreading. Elect Kamala Harris met with potential cabinet members and told them his day one plans, this is Joe Biden's day one plans, to introduce immigration reform, which means basically do away with anything Donald Trump did, legislation, and protect DACA recipients, who are here illegally, by the way, Breitbart's John Binder reported. The plans also include the Remain in Mexico policy and the Title 42 we just talked about, Binder said. But I guess the good news, ladies, there is some good news in all this. By allowing them to just bum rush the border, we don't have to worry about chain migration. Remember, that was a big concern under the Trump administration, the concept of chain migration, which basically meant you could invite all your family and friends to come along with you. So we don't have to worry about chain migration anymore, because guess what we're going to have? It's choo-choo train, the Biden train migration. If you think I'm being over dramatic, look at this video. This is actual footage of video of these people who are bum rushing the place trying to get here. Check it out. I think you get the picture. That is Honduran migrants crashing the border of Guatemala to go across Guatemala. Then they're going to crash the border of Mexico, and then they're going to come up here. By the time they get here, most likely, God help us, Joe Biden will be president. And you really believe he's going to try to stop them at the border? I don't. But currently, thousands of Honduran migrants are attempting to make their way through. You just saw it. Not attempting, they do it. They're doing it through Guatemala after forcing their way through border crossings over the weekend. So if they don't care about the laws of their own country, which say they can't do this, they don't care about the laws of the neighboring countries, what makes you think they're going to care much about our laws? Well, then, heck, we'll be a nation of lawlessness, so really it don't really matter. But listen, this is one of NBC was interviewing some people, and this is what one of the migrants said. As I say, I don't blame them for trying to get here, but listen to what they said here. We are trusting in God to open our path. Biden is supposed to give us work opportunities to those who are there on American soil. So they're coming to this country for work. At the same time, Joe Biden is talking about shutting us down when our biggest states in the country, like California and New York, are completely shut down. Even Governor Cuomo has had a ray of, I guess, some kind of inspiration and said, maybe closing our economy down wasn't the right way to go. We need to open it up. Yeah, a little late, but hopefully you're going to come to. Thank God for Governor Ron DeSantis, man. And did you see where Ocasio-Cortez, Governor Ron DeSantis, by the way, is our great governor of the state of Florida. Did you see where Ocasio-Cortez came out over the weekend and said that, talking about the southern states that voted for, and not enough of them, I guess, but that voted for Donald Trump, how they needed to be liberated. The southern states need to be liberated. Sounds kind of like Reconstruction, doesn't it? Check out, if you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the term Southern Reconstruction and see how that fared for people. I tell you, man, it is getting crazier and crazier out there. And they talk about our side, if you want to choose sides, talking about civil war, but they're talking about putting Trump people in camps. They're talking about liberating Texas and the state of Florida. What in the world does that mean? We know they're coming for your guns. Oh, by the way, if you're not truly woke on this, you may be too late, but you better get woke. That's why you need to go to places like Big Daddy Unlimited, our sponsor, and check it out, because they are your Second Amendment headquarters. Did you see where the NRA has now filed Chapter 11 and is moving to Texas from New York? I don't know why the heck they were in New York all this time anyway, but they're coming after your Second Amendment rights, period. They got to stop, what do they call it, the violence or the virus of gun violence or something to that effect. I don't know. I'm just telling you, ladies and gentlemen, you can be for whoever you want to be for president, obviously. But if you voted for Joe Biden, and there were millions, forget voter mod, there were millions of people that actually voted for Joe Biden legally, squarely, for sure. Maybe enough to win the election. I don't know. We may never know because they don't want us to even talk about it. But assuming that there was no mod, because I can't say the F word, there was no mod, and Joe Biden won the election fair and square, then that means millions of people who own guns, by the way, because record a number of people buying handguns, shotguns, rifles, and everything else. They can't get ammunition. Check out BDU, by the way. But millions of people voted to take away the very things that they bought. It just makes no sense. Believe me, they are coming for the guns. They really are, man. But it's interesting what Biden draws some really interesting crowds, man. I mean, when he was actually campaigning, the greatest president in the history, the greatest presidential campaigner in the history of the president, most popular, think about this, if he really got all those votes, got 10 million more votes than Obama got more votes than anybody in the history of the presidency, then he must be one heck of a popular dude, right? I mean, really, think about it. He got to be popular. But now there's estimates between 25 and I've seen as many as 35,000 of our troops, National Guard and all, armed, by the way, in Washington, D.C. for the inauguration that no one is supposed to attend. Now, so the only crowd in D.C. is going to be the National Guard and the Army, basically. So Biden is drawing that. And did you see, this to me is shameful. They are actually vetting our soldiers before they allow them to go into D.C. Have you seen this report? I mean, our people are already vetted when they join. They're basically vetted, right? But now they're vetting people for the most popular president in the history of the world. They have to vet. So what are they thinking? They're going to be a Sadat moment where they, marching along and, oh, by the way, I'm not advocating for that by any means, just so you know. But it's just interesting to me that Biden, who is not drawing bupkis to any crowd, even online, he can't draw a crowd. Even online, he just did some kind of video just the other day, and about 1,000 people. I got more people watching my video right now than Biden probably had during his entire campaign. It's just absolutely crazy. But 35,000 troops, maybe 25, I've seen a couple of different numbers. And then, of course, these fans of his are here's some more Biden. We're going to show you. These are Biden people, fans, bum rushing to get to see, I guess, the inauguration. They want to make it in time for the inauguration. Check them out. I hope we can play it again. Awkward pause. Well, I had a joke set up there, but sometimes, there we go, here we go. Here's Biden supporters coming again. There they are. They're coming around the outside, coming around the turn, and they're trying to get to the mall in Washington, man. Nah, Billy Bob tells me that's not actually Biden supporters. That's the mob coming this way from Central and South America. But they're trying to come to see Joe Biden. You know what they really are? To people like Joe Biden, you know a reason why the Democrats want to open the borders and give away free stuff? Because they don't see them as people, and this is, people can call me what they want. I'm just calling it like it is. As I said, I don't blame these folks for getting here, and I don't have any doubt that most of the Hispanic people coming from there, assuming they are Hispanic, are some of the most God-fearing, family-oriented, hard-working people on the planet. And I don't doubt that the vast majority of them are just trying to find a better way of life. But they're going to have a devastating impact on many neighborhoods of color, Hispanic, black, lower income, whites, all that kind of stuff. They're going to be competing for your, it's going to be disastrous for this country. So why is Joe Biden and why are they so enamored with this? It's not because they believe in freedom, that's for sure, because we've seen that. They don't believe in free speech. They don't believe in the Bill of Rights, which is the essence of our freedom. They don't believe in God-given inalienable rights. I'd love to interview somebody like Biden and ask you, what of these amendments do you actually still believe in? Because from what I see, they don't believe in any of them. So it's not about freedom. It's about potential votes. They see every one of those people rushing through those troops down there in Guatemala as potential Democratic voters. That's what they see. It's just crazy. NBC reported the senior Biden transition official who spoke on condition of anonymity, so you tell truth about Biden, you got to be anonymous, said those who have been waiting at the border along with other vulnerable populations will be a priority for processing and entry rather than those who have recently arrived. So the ones that have been camped out there, the ones that are illegally in the country now, they're going to be the first priority. So I thought about it. He said vulnerable population. So I thought I'd look up the definition of vulnerable. Of a person in need of special care, support, or protection because of age, disability, or risk of abuse or neglect. That sounds like a lot of American citizens right now and what they're going through. So I know this is a radical idea, but before we take all these illegal immigrants into the country or make the ones already here legal, how about if we actually take care of our own citizens who, by your own admission, Democratic Party, are suffering right now? I mean, Biden says he don't want any Americans to go hungry and all that kind of stuff, and I'm with you on that. I don't want that either. But how are we going to fulfill our mission to the American people if we're bringing more people in that have low skill when there's not jobs for them? It's not like Americans won't take the jobs. There aren't any jobs to take. And then turn around and say you're trying to prevent the spread of the disease when you're violating the CDC protocols and letting people come in here that their own people are telling you have the coronavirus. It's just crazy, man. The official said migrants attempting to cross into the U.S. to claim asylum in the first few weeks of the new administration need to understand they're not going to be able to come to the United States immediately. Oh, yeah? You want to bet on that? The official also said that the day one proposals by the transition team, OAR, and this is for undocumented immigrants already living in the U.S. That's what they say. Not those who are considering arriving now. Undocumented immigrants already living in the U.S. That just means potential voters. And they want more potential voters. So do you really believe that the Biden administration is going to be turning people back? They're going to do just the opposite. Listen, let me check my time. I'm doing pretty good. Listen to this right here. This will tell you all you really need to know about what is happening and the potential for what can happen in the United States. Guatemalan President Alejandro Giamonte. Now, this is the president of Guatemala. Called on Honduran authorities, which is the ones you saw getting bum rushed there, to contain the mass exit of his inhabitants, in other words, his own citizens, from Guatemala. ABC News reported the government of Guatemala, this is what the president of Guatemala said. Listen to this. The government of Guatemala regrets this violation of national sovereignty and calls on the governments of Central America to take measures to avoid putting their inhabitants, in other words, their citizens, at risk amid the health emergencies due to the pandemic. So you got the president of Guatemala warning these other countries, which I would assume would include the United States of America, because that's where they're coming, to be careful because these people he's apologizing for the threat they pose to the pandemic. I mean, my God, man, you got the president of Guatemala cares more about American citizens than Joe Biden, who wants to bum rush the border, open it up to everybody. Make it legal to illegally cross the border, give away free medical care, which is, if you have open border, let me tell you, snowflakes, if you're listening to this out there, you just need to understand this. Maybe you want America to be destroyed. Hate Donald Trump all you want. But this is just fact. It's not opinionated fact, it's just fact. You cannot have an open border and a open welfare policy and expect to survive as a nation. It is not possible. There's not enough gazillionaires out there to tax to have that happen. And there are reports by the UN, not me, but by the UN, that there are over 84, this is about 2 years ago, so I'm assuming the number's gone up, 84 million people in Central and South America that, if they could, would come to the United States right now if they could get here. 84 million. That number may be low. That was a couple years ago. If you cannot survive as a nation, which may be your goal, but go ahead and tell us it is if it is, because you cannot survive as a nation. This has nothing to do with Donald Trump. You cannot survive as a nation with an open border and an open welfare policy. It's not possible. So the president of Guatemala is concerned about his neighboring countries, including the United States of America, that the people coming from his country might bring with them infection. And yet we're supposed to be, Joe Biden and his crew, supposed to save us all, right? I mean, is it too late, too early, hopefully never too late. Is it too early to go with impeach Biden now? I mean, they want us to be unified. And I told you this last week, and I'm going to make this statement again. In the spirit of unity, because what did Biden's theme? His theme is Unify America, something like that, his inaugural theme. So in keeping with that spirit, I will make you a solemn promise to all you liberals out there, all you Biden supporters, all you haters of Trump, lovers of Trump. I'm going to make you a solemn promise. I promise, and I mean this, that I will give Joe Biden at least the same opportunity that the Democratic Party gave Donald Trump. I will support Joe Biden in just the same fashion that you supported Donald Trump, so help me God. But so impeach Biden, is it too? If there's no mod, so we can't say the F word here, then understand this. If Joe Biden actually, and I'm not saying there was mod, but if there is no voter mod, then that means that Joe Biden got the most votes in the history of the presidency, right? So if that's true, like the Democrats said, then you voted for them to basically take your guns away. You voted for them to have an open border and a welfare policy, which I told you, regardless of whatever, is not possible to survive. You voted for them to bum rush the border with the possible, you talk about a super spreader. The president of Guatemala, nonetheless, is warning other countries and apologizing to them, including the United States, that if these people are allowed to come from his country, they are in fact a mega super spreader. It's not just the MAGAs that are super spreaders. These are the mega. And remember this, ladies and gentlemen, this is who you voted for. I've been telling you this for a while. This meme right here says it all. You can vote your way into socialism, but you always got to shoot your way out, assuming you have any guns left to do it with. Who knows? All right, we got a few minutes left in the show. I want 2 minutes, basically, I guess. Let me just say this really quickly. Call Rove. You need to read this Breitbart article. The title, If Trump Continues to Claim Election Mod, I'm not going to say it, there will be bipartisan conviction in the Senate. So this is what Karl Rove said, and we'll conclude the show. Check it out yourself. Republican strategist Karl Rove said on his week's broadcast of Fox News Sunday that President Donald Trump will be convicted in the Senate, with Republicans voting for impeachment if his defense is there was widespread voter mod, can't say the F word, in 2020 presidential election. George Carlin, ladies and gentlemen, turns out to be a prophet. George Carlin is the prophet, man. He's telling you there are words, they want us to basically be Game of Thrones. I mean, not Game of Thrones. I get the movies Hunger Games. They want us to be just shut up and put up with it, man. But the swamp is filling up. The rats are dancing around, and keep this in mind because Rove said this. Normally we say not much chance about him being convicted, Trump. I think Leader McConnell's statement is a sign that every Republican senator needs to take this seriously. I think it's all going to boil down to what the president's defense, and he talks about Rudy Giuliani. He said that if President Trump in the morning papers, when he suggested that the argument was going to be there couldn't have been incitement because of all the charges of widespread voter fraud are true, and then he goes on to say that they're not true, Karl Rove. And it just reminds me, and I'll show this last oil well meme. I've showed this before, but this is what we're up against right here. This meme, if we can get it up there, about oil well, that basically says the more a society drifts from the truth, the more they will hate those that speak the truth. That is what is happening to people like me. They're hating on us, not you, my listeners, but a lot of trolls and stuff. They're trying to shut us down. That is why you, ladies and gentlemen, must support those of us in the fight, must support sponsors of our show, must turn around, find our show no matter where it is. Go to www.johnmartintalks.tv, share it with others. You gotta fight for those that are in the fight, because not all of us can be fighters, but everyone can support those of us in the fight, because we're speaking the truth and they're hating on us for it. Hope you've enjoyed the show as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. Go to our YouTube channel, John Martin Talks, spell it all the way out. Check it out. I'll pray for your family. You pray for mine. Let's all pray for this great country and our President Trump while we still can, because they both deserve it. And above all else, like I say each and every day, from my heart, from my family to yours, have a blessed day.